Hi and welcome to Bodyboarding-WB. I'm Chris and I'll be your host of this channel. Today we're here to talk about basics of bodyboarding equipment. Okay, so we should probably start off with somewhere most people don't cover, and that is what we're actually wearing. As you'll notice here, I'm in a pair of board shorts and a rash vest. Okay, the big benefit of this is not only UV protection, is we will be protected from wax rash off the board. Okay, board rash is a very big thing, especially the bigger surf you're paddling out. Okay, that's where you're really going to see it. So spend the money, get a good rash vest, you'll thank yourself in a couple of years. Okay, moving on from our UV protective equipment, the next thing I'd like to talk about is our fins. Okay, these things I consider absolutely essential to bodyboarding. So important I'm actually speaking about them before boards. These two here will keep you out of any sort of situation you get in the ocean. So if you get in a rip, if we're dealing with big currents, big drifts, you need a pair of fins. You can actually tell how serious a bodyboarder is by whether he's wearing a pair of these. Make sure you get a pair that are well fitting, so try on as many as you can. Okay, so they want to be firm, they don't want to be loose, or that's where you get blisters from. If they are a little bit loose, you can use these things we have here. We call them fin socks. So they're just a basic neoprene sock that fits over the foot inside our flipper. Okay, and that's going to provide a little bit more protection against any sort of rubs. I'd also recommend these things on the end of the fins, fin savers. Okay, so that way our flippers aren't, if they come loose, they aren't going to end up a couple of miles out to sea. Okay, now on to the more fun aspects of bodyboarding. As you see here, I've got two basic boards. Now the first thing we're going to talk about boards are height and weight specific. Okay, so have a look in the description below. You will find some links to some sizing charts for bodyboards. Okay, now the main other thing we really have to look at when looking at boards is tail design. Okay, this is super critical and really neglected amongst beginner riders. Okay, this can make a huge difference when we're starting out as to how many waves we can actually jump on. As you can see here, I have two boards. I have a crescent tail board. As you'll note, we have a moon-shaped crescent, and we have a bat tail board. As you'll note, it's the inverse of the crescent. Okay, so we have two reasons to really use these boards. The bat tail board tends to be a small surfboard, so if you have anything under 1 metre, that's generally when I'm going to reach for my bat tail. Anything bigger and I'm looking at my crescent tail. Okay, so the whole idea is with our bat tail is we have more water displacement due to our bigger tail area, so it's going to be easier and faster on smaller surf. Okay, this is a huge thing when we're living in areas like I do, where I have very small surf, great for beginners, but intermediate advanced really need a little bit of a bigger wave. This thing here on the small surf seems to bring up the speed and manoeuvrability. The other thing with the bat tail is make sure you have channels. Okay, I recently got caught at the start of the year trying to buy a cheap bat tail, no channels, and it was completely unrideable because the bottom end of the board just would not stick in the waves. So if you're going to get a bat tail, make sure it has channels. In 90% of wide bay surfing, I would recommend you use a bat tail, as the surfing is going to be small and slow. We really don't have any massive breaks, so you're going to find 90% of your time is spent on your bat tail. Okay, now if we have a look at this board here, this is our crescent tail. Okay, you'll see a few more features. There's a little bit more of an advanced board. You will see gripping that's automatically in the foaming. You'll also see better leashes. Okay, and this is a much better core too, being a PE as opposed to an XPE or XPS or core. The other thing we want to look at is our rail balances. This is a 60-40 rail, which means we have 60%, 40%. Okay, so that's going to be very, very grippy on the wave face, whereas if we look at this one, we're running a 55-45, which means we're going to be a little bit more poppier on the wave face. Poppier means that we can break traction with the wave we're riding much easier. Okay, make sure you get yourself a good leash. As you see, I have bicep leashes on both these boards. I really do prefer them for paddling out, they don't get in the way. But make sure you have a good leash, otherwise you'll be paddling in every time you wipe out. So now that we've finished discussing equipment, we need to make sure to go out bodyboarding. We have ourselves a nice rash vest, board shorts, flippers, fin socks if you will, and a nice board. Depending on the size of the surf will depend on the tail size. Okay, so if we come back in our next lesson, we're going to be talking about how we catch waves, how to get into the waves, general beachcraft. Okay, so please click below to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.